What's up, everybody? Interested in Colorado Springs, Colorado? If you are, you're going to want to check out this video because we're going to give you a quick but proper Colorado Springs, Colorado map tour. And then we're going to cover how to navigate through Colorado Springs. So your first time here, you're going to be able to find your way around, have your bearings. Also, this will help you look at neighborhoods. We're also going to cover where the bases are. All the bases are in relation to Colorado Springs, where downtown is, the Colorado Springs Airport, commuting, where all the new growth is. We're going to pack a bunch into this video, so you're going to want to check it out. So let's get into that. Okay guys, before we get into this map tour, real quick, I just wanted to mention, if you're interested in Colorado Springs, Colorado, or the surrounding areas, I'm going to recommend that you hit the subscribe and bell button down below. This way you'll be notified of the information regarding Colorado Springs and the Colorado Springs, Colorado market, as well as the surrounding areas. Now, myself, Nicole, the entire team, we all enjoy talking to people just like yourself that are relocating to Colorado Springs. We love helping with those questions. We love helping people with the process of their home. So feel free to reach out to us below with the contact information. Now, without further ado, let's get into this map tour. All right, guys, let's get into Colorado Springs, Colorado map tour. So what I'm looking to cover on this is just give you a basic understanding of the layout, how to even get around in Colorado Springs. This will also help you get your bearings when you're looking at different neighborhoods and different areas. We're going to give you the main arteries, if you will, north and south, east and west. We're going to cover the bases real quick just so you get an idea. We'll also cover the growth of Colorado Springs. So for those that are looking for the older historic homes, you'll know where you need to focus your searches. If you're looking for some of the newer developments, that kind of thing, we'll do a heat map to show you where the newer developments are going to be as well. So if that's something that you want to entertain, you'll know where you need to focus on that. So let's get into the video. So first, let's talk about where downtown is in relation to everything. Then we're going to talk about the airport. Then we'll get into the bases. First, though, and I just wanted to show you something right here. So for those that have never been to Colorado Springs or don't know where that is in relation to the Rocky Mountains or where it is in the state, let me just give you a quick little piece. They call it Southern Colorado, but more than anything, we're right there dead center. And all right, so Fort Collins is the very top, and then you see the very bottom down here where Trinidad is. And you can see I picked out I-25. So I-25, obviously running north and south, it's the main thoroughfare through the state of Colorado. And if you'll notice, and what I was going to show you as well when it comes to Colorado Springs, I-25 actually follows the front range of the Rocky Mountains. So what's really neat is Colorado Springs lays on the, as I mentioned, the front range, just at the foothills. So we get to see the entire line, this beautiful panoramic scenery of span of the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. So it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a lot of its draw. Obviously the mountains and the outdoors is what brings all the attention to Colorado Springs. So you can see, like I said, you can see how I-25 goes north and south. And even though they call it Southern Colorado, you can see right here, Colorado Springs, nearly dead center of the state. Obviously a little east of that. Which I-25, if you're coming in on I-25, it's going to be a very scenic drive. Now, the further north you get, the further away from the mountains you'll get. So you'll see, let me grab my little marker here. You'll see I-25 is a little bit further the further north you get, and it'll bounce back and forth close and to and from, if you will. But it hugs really close for Colorado Springs. So what that means for us is Colorado Springs versus Denver, we're a lot closer to the mountains. So most everybody in Colorado Springs has a view, depending on which window you look out. So anyways, you can see I-25 rolling straight down the front range right there. And so this goes to a lot to say this when it comes to Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, if you're on the west side of I-25, again, our red line, so if you're on the west side, on this side, obviously with this terrain piece pulled up on the map, you can see that that's really what you think of when you think of Colorado. When somebody says, oh, I'm in Colorado, or I visited Colorado, you picture the rolling hills, foothills. You see boulders, come to mind. You see the Christmas trees, all the evergreens and everything that come to mind when you think of the Rocky Mountains. So when you're on the west side of town or on the west side of I-25, that is definitely the vibe over there. That's definitely the feeling. And then in fact, the further west you go through Rock Rimmon, and let me show you on the map here, the further west you go through the Garden of the Gods area and everything else, and you get that really mountain ski lodge vibe, obviously, the further west you go. Everything east of I-25, it seems like Colorado Springs, obviously starting downtown, it quickly met its borders at the Rocky Mountains, and then it just grew north and east, if you will. Now you can see the gray area on the terrain of the map here. This is going to be a little bit of the rolling hills and the foothills and everything. You can definitely see the terrain here. So you're going to have bluffs and those kind of things throughout the whole city, all of Colorado Springs. Now, once you get past Colorado Springs and you go further east of Colorado Springs, you can see the yellow area over here. Yeah, very, very flat. It's going to be a lot of plains and everything else over there. So it's, in fact, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between that and Kansas, honestly, without a sign. So Falcon kind of stops those rolling hills, or it diminishes greatly after that, I should say. So anyways, Colorado Springs, let's look at it. The military bases when it comes to Colorado Springs. So the furthest north, you're going to have Air Force Academy. In fact, Air Force Academy, you're going to have a lot of people living in the Northgate area, the Briargate area, and even on up into Monument, just outside of Colorado Springs. You have a lot of people that look in those areas that are right here at the Air Force Academy. Air Force Academy, a lot of, obviously the cadets in training and school and everything. They have a awesome, which we'll cover this in other videos, graduation that they do there. And I'm sure you guys have probably seen on TV in the month of May. It normally makes national news. Normally have the president, vice president, secretary of state, somebody come out and speak. So let's go back down. So the furthest east over here, if you can follow me on the map, this right here is going to be Schriever Air Force Base. This is going to be real close to the Colorado Springs Airport. The Colorado Springs Airport is just right over here attached to Peterson Air Force Base. So Peterson Air Force Base and both Schriever, they shouldered a little bit of the Space Force as that branch of service was coming together. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's still people there associated with Space Force that are still located at both Schriever and Peterson. Going a further west, and again, staying south, you'll notice all the bases. So that's going to be Schriever Air Force Base, Peterson Air Force Base, about to touch on Fort Carson here, and then Cheyenne Mountain. They're all located on the south side of Colorado Springs. One that's not is the exception that we talked about in the very beginning, was the Air Force Academy, which was just due north. But right here we have Fort Carson. This is our large Army base that we have here, constantly bringing in new groups, new units. So a lot of movement there, a lot of PCSing in and out. And if I'm not mistaken, and you guys put it in the comments there, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I've been told several times, numerous times actually, from all of our Army that we talk to, both active and retired, that Colorado Springs normally is in the top 3 destination or duty stations requested. Obviously because of the scenery, because of the the weather and everything else. So I'd be interested. Put it in the comments what your top 3 would be, and I'm hoping if you're heading this way that Fort Carson was one of them. And then, all right, so to the west of Fort Carson right there, you have Cheyenne Mountain. Now, a little bit of history there. Way back in the 80s, they had this movie called War Games. I'm probably dating myself. It was a little before my time. It was based out of NORAD. So NORAD is actually a base that's inside the mountain, located inside a mountain. You'll see all the antennas come out of Cheyenne Mountain right here. Show you on the map where our star is. You'll see all the antennas coming out and all the light poles and everything coming out to show for all the airplanes and everything, because we have so many Air Force bases around us and airports. Cheyenne Mountain Station, I think is what they call Mountain Post. It's been called all kinds of things. It started as NORAD. Really neat. They used to do, before 9/11, they used to do tours in there, and it was quite impressive. I never made it in there as a small child, and regret that I didn't, because I hear it's pretty spectacular. So especially for back then. All right, so let's talk about getting around Colorado Springs. Really easy to get around in Colorado Springs. Whether you're visiting or moving here, I can have you situated like that, and it's as simple. And you probably would have done it and just not even noticed it, just subconsciously done it. The great thing about Colorado Springs is you can look up just from anywhere you're at. I mean, be it outside, you're going to be able to look up and you're going to be able to find the mountains. Heck, in most places that you're inside, you can look out a window and normally find the mountain range. No matter where you are, what's going on, you look up and you can find the mountains. Now, I know a lot of people are like, what about at night? Well, Pikes Peak has got a light on it, and you'll obviously be able to see and tell where that is. But you look up and you see the mountains due west, and there you will have your bearings. Now from there, it's just a matter of knowing the grid as far as the main arteries north and south and the main arteries east and west. And with that, we can have you getting around town easily. I would say right now, as far as commute times, and we'll pull that up, commute times, just from a personal preference, we'll get into some data here, but as a personal opinion or guesstimate for me, Nicole and I always say, in about 25 minutes, you can be just about anywhere in Colorado Springs. Meaning you can commute from the furthest point north to diagonally to the furthest point south, and you should be able to get there on average within 25 minutes. depending on the time of day. And again, that's why we say on average, depending on the time of day, depending on where you're leaving from. So let's go through and get you where you're moving around. So let's start with the north-south. So, and I'm going to give you, and I'm going to pull up some pictures and some video and some ideas, so you have an idea of what that would look like in scenery versus just a bunch of color, squiggly lines on the screen here. So this is going to be I-25. This is what we talked about. This is your fastest route north and south. If you're anywhere close to north and south, any map platform software that you use or app that you use is going to tell you to go to I-25. You're moving. We're 70 miles an hour moving on I-25. Not a whole lot of accidents on there from what I can tell, so it moves pretty quick and stays pretty busy. Several lanes of traffic. In fact, let's see what I-25. Let me give you an example of I-25. So this is I-25 here. So you have 3 lanes. What is it? Six lanes both ways, and you can see right here on the west. This is the west side, so you can tell we're going south because the mountains are on the right of us. So again, knowing that that's west, now you know pretty much any picture that I pull up right now, you're going to know which way we're pointing, as long as you can see those mountains for reference. And again, it's even easier when you're in town. All right, so that's I-25. The next one's Academy Boulevard. This is kind of cool. It's got some history with it. So Academy Boulevard, I showed you again, and we'll back out just one more time. You saw the bases. We'll flash these again. You saw the bases all lined up south, all except one, Air Force Academy right there. Well, the Air Force Academy has our next main artery that dead ends right into the gate of Air Force Academy. We pull up our stuff here. So this is going to be Academy Boulevard. Academy Boulevard dead ends, like I said, into the southern gate, the most southern gate of the Air Force Academy. Now, it's understood, if you will, that when the Cold War was happening, they had, Cheyenne Mountain was a big deal. NORAD was a big deal to have a base in the mountain to be able to shelter any kind of fallout or, God forbid, the Cold War and all that. But what they did is they built a road called Academy Boulevard that goes directly from the most southern gate of Air Force Academy all the way a straight shot to NORAD. And so Academy Boulevard, God forbid if anything were to have come up during the Cold War, they just get in the car and they take the high brass and race them down to put them in the mountain for shelter. So that's Academy Boulevard. Now, Academy Boulevard is not going to be your fastest north and south route. In fact, I would easily commit to telling you it'd be the slowest. A lot of traffic lights, a lot of retail. There's no frontage roads. Let's pull up Academy Boulevard for you here so you can get a better idea. So this is Academy Boulevard. This is actually one of the newer sections of Academy Boulevard, and it looks like we're going west. It bends right here, and I'll show you back on the map. But there again, you can see west, due west, and there's Pikes Peak right there. This is very close. In fact, that's Woodland Boulevard right there. And I'll show you that one here in a minute. But you can see Academy, this is actually, like I said, this is a newer on-ramp intersection that they've done. Actually, it's the largest traffic intersection that we get is Academy and Woodman, or at least it used to be before this. So you can see that it's just a bunch of retail, bunch of restaurant, dining, that kind of thing. Again, all retail, commercial, and dining. Now the other one, Union, kind of like Academy, and all of them will, bend throughout the city, if you will. But this is definitely a north and south. And I got to be honest with you, I've lived here for years, and Union, I've always, it seems like every time you commute, you touch Union at some point. But it's been heaven here lately. It seems like that is the road for me. There's not as much commercial. It's entrances to neighborhoods, some commercial, mostly residential. Let me pull up Union here for us real quick. So this is Union Boulevard. You can see entrances to communities and apartment complexes, residential. Let's see if I can turn here. There we go. This looks like the older part. Yep. And then our mountain should be, if I'm in the right spot, should be right here. Yep, on the west side. So this is going south on Union. Great road. It just accesses and it moves quicker. Not as many stoplights. Like I said, Academy, tons of stoplights because there's no frontage roads or anything else. So there's just constant stoplights. Union moves a lot quicker. It's just basically hopping from one community or neighborhood to another. Some commercial. When I say commercial, I'd say business. Not a whole lot of retail, very little retail. But this right here, this little snapshot right here is a good example of what the majority of Union is going to look like. And I tried to do that on each one of these. Just try to give you a good representation of what you could expect when you're cruising down that road. All right, so what we had, Union. Now Powers Boulevard is a good one, and it moves. Let's see, Union. This is going to be Powers right over here. So Powers is, this would be Colorado Springs, closest thing we have to the Audubon here. So this, you can see, this is the furthest point east that we're going. And let me see if I can zoom out a little bit so you guys can get your bearings. Again, all the bases down south here, laid across the bottom. There you go. And then this is Powers. Now I'm going to say, if you're pretty much on any side or east side of town, if you will, you're probably going to hit Powers. You're probably going to run Powers. Powers is just under I-25. It moves just about that quick. Like I said, it's our closest to the Audubon. Now, they did this one right. This one is very much like Academy in the fact that it has a lot of dining, a lot of your newer shopping and strip centers, those kind of things, movie theaters, all that stuff. All the stuff you're going to want and probably do on a Friday or Saturday night with the family. Powers, that's pretty much what Powers is going to be all the way, but they did this right. They did it differently than Academy. They actually did it where there's frontage roads. So you hop off and you have frontage roads. So you're moving. You're moving on Powers. I think it's 60 or 65 miles an hour. This one here looks like this is the hospital right here, St. Francis. This kind of a good representation of Powers. This is an overpass, so I'm not sure if this would be the best example. It looks like you're going over Woodman Boulevard. Again, there you go, mountains to the west. So guess what? We're going south. So this is the land beside the hospital. Things are going in there now. So this looks like this is going to be a couple years old as far as the map that I'm using. Everything here is the same except, so this is a good example right here. So this is Powers in Dublin right here. This is one of the bigger intersections on Powers. But you can see you have 6 lanes of traffic, very much like I-25. All the traffic on this road is moving. This definitely helps you get there on time. For the most part, pretty safe. Pretty safe. Everybody's pretty conscious about that. So that's Powers. That's north and south. Real quick, we're going to east and west because this video is getting long. I just want to get you guys squared up so you have a good idea of Colorado Springs. Then I was just going to show you where the growth was going, so you guys had an idea of, as Colorado Springs has blossomed over the years, how it's grown. All right, so we did getting around. We're going to do east and west right now. So that's Powers. I'll zoom in here, guys, so we can get a better idea. All right, so further north, and again, guys, we have other roads that are coming in. So north and south, our next one would be Mark Shuffle. That one's not fully built out. I wouldn't recommend it as a way of travel all the way, north and south right now, because there's just a ton of construction right now. It will be a great one. It'll be similar to Powers when it's done, but it has a couple years to get there. The infrastructure and all the building that's going on right now is going on that Mark Shuffle Road. So it'll take a couple years before it's built out and completed like Powers, to the extent Powers is right now, Powers Boulevard. So the furthest northeast-west corridor is going to be Woodman Boulevard. If you guys remember, I actually pulled that one up on a cross section here. Let me just see if I can. All right, here you go. Here's Woodman Boulevard. Now, Woodman, is going to be a good blend of everything. All right, you can see that's facing due west, and then turning around this way is heading due east. Again, those mountains, it's just the greatest trick. But you just feel like a Boy Scout or Girl Scout every time you use that. So on Woodman, not always 6 lane. Well, yeah, I think it is pretty much now. They finished it out pretty much 6 lanes all the way. This is one of the heavier east to west routes right here. This gets a lot of traffic, and you'll be stopping at a few lights on this one. It doesn't have too many lights. It's more of that Union Boulevard where you have the residential. This is a great representation of what you're looking at. You do have some commercial in some sections of Woodman Boulevard where it turns into more commercial, be it retail or car lots or something like that. But for the most part, this is a great representation, a good blend, because you'll have residential areas or large areas of residential where you're just hopping from one community to another as far as entrances. So Woodman, and it's a great drive, especially when you're heading west. You just get to stare at the mountain and you forget how majestic it is. So our next one's going to be Dublin Boulevard. Let me see if I can't find that one on the map here just to get your bearings. Dublin Boulevard. Let's see, we have Union and Dublin. All right, so Dublin is definitely going to be very much like your Union Boulevard, more so than Union. It's going to have more residentials, just hopping from one community to another. You might have a strip center in there with some little bit smaller businesses, that kind of thing. Not a lot of big commercial stuff going back and forth on Dublin, but it's definitely turned into a huge artery here lately, where you're getting all the way from one side of town to the other on Dublin, sneaking through the residential side, staying away from a lot of the large intersections and heavy traffic. So it's definitely been a tool as far as getting around. So let's take a look at Dublin. So this is right here by Cottonwood Park. This is awesome. This is a great representation. As you can see, we're headed due west right here. And this is, honestly, this is a great picture of what our summers and springs look like right here. Cottonwood Park, that's an ice rink area for but with rollerblades. They have basketball courts, great sledding, insane amount of softball fields, pool, everything over there. So that's a great little area, park. Definitely a nice park. But this is a great representation of Dublin. You can cruise down Dublin. Most of it's going to be 4 lanes and divided, and separated with the median most of the way. But traffic moves, but you're supposed to be at that 40, normally around the 40 miles an hour. But definitely one of the ways you'll be using pretty regularly, I imagine. All right, so we had Dublin Boulevard, and just to keep us on track here, we're going to do Constitution. Okay, so Constitution, this is going to be further south, and now you have a lot of people shopping for homes, and when they've lived here or whatever, for some reason, Constitution has turned into a marker. Excuse me, and get some water. All right, so a lot of people, you're talking to a lot of people, and they start zeroing in on the style homes or the age home that they like and that they're comfortable with, or that they find interest in. And so a lot of people will say, hey, I want to go Constitution and North for homes. So that seems to be a popular home search that we do get, is Constitution North. I really do think that's going to be the age of the homes, really, is what's driving that. And again, we'll get into that heat map here in a second, but I can show you that. So Constitution, it's very much like Dublin in the fact that it's going to be mostly from one community to another or neighborhood to another, with some commercial rather. When you cross those larger intersection streets, and as you get to those intersections, that's where you'll start seeing the typical commercial stuff. So let me see if I can't find it. Yeah, here's Constitution. Now this is a little bit older. Like I said, this is getting back to where you see the above ground wires and stuff like that. That you would have on the older sides of town, in any town for that matter. And then, of course, you can see we're headed due west right here. Good representation. You can see we're coming up to a big intersection. Matter of fact, that's Academy Boulevard that you'd be coming up to right there. One of the gazillion street lights on Academy. But anyways, headed west here on Constitution. A lot of residential, not that much commercial. Normally just focused at those intersections, and you would see some strip centers around the heavier intersections. All right, moving on, guys. So Platte, and again, I'm just focusing on Colorado Springs. We can spread out to El Paso County and that kind of thing later. But as you can see, Colorado Springs is really that one little pocket that kind of fits right in that little niche of the foothills right there in front of Pikes Peak. That little pocket right there. So these are definitely going to be the best ways for you to get to and fro when it comes to commuting. All right, so we have Platte Boulevard right here. So this one's going to take you right into downtown. And this is one of the more southern. From here, you would get into Fountain, and I'm not going to get into Fountain Boulevard right down here. We're not going to cover that one. That one doesn't cover. It doesn't go all the way north, south, or I'm sorry, east, west. So I didn't touch on that one. But Platte right here is a good example of one that does. And this one you can see coming out Highway 24 turns into Platte. So you can come right out of Falcon or East Colorado Springs and cruise right on to Platte and right into downtown. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, so this is actually coming into downtown. This is a great intersection, actually. This is coming into downtown Colorado Springs, coming in from Platte. You can see, if I can get closer, you can see that's General Palmer right there. So General Palmer, and then you have Penrose. Those are some very popular people, founders, if you will, to the area. And I believe to the right here, you should have Palmer. Yeah, this is the oldest high school in Colorado Springs. This is Palmer, still a great school. And then right over the way here, you have Acacia Park. That's a really cool park. They set up ice skating in the winter, and the summer is just beautiful. It's green with the mature trees and everything, and they keep everything so tidy over there. It looks great. And then you can see that's Pikes Peak right there, dead center, guys. So we're heading, obviously, due west. So that's the one that goes into, again, downtown. So that's a great snapshot. So let me see if I can pull this up for us real quick, guys. So let's do age of property. There we go. So I really just wanted to show this to you to get an idea so you guys could see like how Colorado Springs has grown over the years. Now the older, the darker purple, the darkest is like 90.27 years right here. And obviously you'll see some stuff speckled, here and there. But for the most part, you can see with this heat map how it just radiates out from downtown. And this is, like most growth you have in any town, that's not encumbered, front, back, east, west, north, south, that kind of thing. Obviously, we had a landmark with the foothills of the mountains there that, it's rolled right up to the steepest points as far as the east side of Colorado Springs. But you can see it's grown from the downtown area. I mean, over 100 years old on some of these. And then how all the new growth is going really that northeast side that we were talking about. And that northeast side having a lot of the newer master communities, these large communities with these huge community centers and event centers and stuff like that. So we'll get into those. And in fact, we have some videos coming up that we're going to talk about places around Colorado Springs to consider, and keeping that commute within that 40 minute window. We'll show you different areas you're going to want to consider. So if you've heard, hey, you're considering Colorado Springs, these are definitely areas you're going to want to put in the mix. And some of these areas might suit you even better than Colorado Springs. We do have a lot of people that live on these outside surrounding areas of Colorado Springs that just use Colorado Springs to get whatever odd-in essentials that they may not have in the suburbs, if you will. So Colorado Springs not necessarily your metro like Denver, thank God. That's just a personal preference. I'm not, we have enough concrete in Colorado Springs. We still have a lot of the nature stuff and the trails here that I think keep us really grounded and have that really, you just really feel in touch. And you really feel like you have the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors, and it's around you everywhere. So anyways, but you can see the new growth, some growth down south, and now there's going to be growth going into Fountain, obviously with Fountain, Fort Carson, the Army base down there. And I mean, how big, that post is. Fountain is really growing because of that. And there's a lot of new developments there, and hence that's why you're seeing a lot of the newer stuff that you're seeing right here with the yellow and the greens right here. So this will give you, pretty good idea as far as Colorado Springs and how it's grown over the years, and how you can see up here is going to be your new areas. I mean, you have up here just a couple years old, and even zero I even popped on. These are all new developments that are going in right now. So be on the lookout for the video, or go ahead and look it up, the surrounding areas. Then we're also going to cover, what certain price ranges give you. So take a look at the channel, find these different things, because we'll actually cover some different neighborhoods and, what 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 would get you in Colorado Springs. We'll cover all those pieces, and we're getting into the schools and those kind of things as well. Comment below. Let us know what you would like to see in here. Let us know what we may have left out on this, and maybe we can answer for you through the comments, or feel free to use the information down below to contact us. Thanks.